People don't always understand that we're not cows. How is it that we're not cows? Because cows only eat grass, and all the cows eat grass. They don't eat other things. Humans are a little different. We have a different genetic setup, and according to our genetics, we will require different things. Again, not a new idea, but somehow it kind of got lost that we're unique. We have somewhere between 20 to 30,000 genes and maybe 200,000 gene variations. So the truth is we all need different diets. Now, what is out there in the food industry is one fad diet after another. This is the best diet. That's the best diet. But conscious eating, which is what I'm teaching, doesn't say that. It says you need to figure out for yourself, depending on your constitution, what the best diet is for you. That's the important idea, okay? And it's the difference between succeeding or not. This morning, a question came up, well, if you don't feel you're getting enough protein, should you eat meat? The answer really is, as I explained, according to your constitution, some people need more or less meat, more or less protein, and it's real easy when you know a person needs more protein to get more vegetarian protein. You don't need to return to eating meat, which, as we said, isn't so good for you or the planet. So that's the starting point, is you're unique, you're original, and you're not a cow. Okay? That's it. That's the key understanding. Now, I'm going to share several systems. But before I do that, I want to explain one more thing about protein, which we're also going to talk about again tomorrow. Sometimes I'm repeating things on purpose because they're sometimes difficult to understand. The average protein need is somewhere between 10 and 20% of your calories, okay? But it doesn't quite work that way, because the research shows people in middle age, like up to 60, 40 to 60, if you're eating a lot of meat, it's going to double your mortality rate, tendency to die, and give you 4 times more cancer. But after 65, you actually need to have more protein. Age changes, your ability to absorb changes. And this is, I experimented with that, and I just a year ago, I was doing these pull-ups, and I couldn't seem to get do more than 25, you know, and I said, okay, let's add more protein. Now, I didn't add a lot more protein, just 2 teaspoons, a tablespoon of blue-green algae. Within a few days, I went up to 30 pull-ups. It was definitely related to the protein, nothing else. All I did is say, okay, at a certain age, above 65, you need more protein. And suddenly I did that, and I did better. That's how straightforward it is. So we have to understand that we go through different phases of our life. There are times when you need more protein, less protein, but you still have a basic constitution. Well, I use the blue-green algae, but it could be any of the, the best proteins, which I'm going to repeat again tomorrow. Meat, fish, and chicken give you only 16, 17, or 18% assimilation. It's really not very much. The blue-green algae, the chlorella, the spirulina, it's about 90 to 95% assimilation. Eggs, the perfect protein, which is not the case, is 44% assimilated. So you're taking protein that's available in the vegetarian form, it's 95% assimilated, 90 to 95. Is that a better protein? I would think so. What we also observed is that meat protein makes you resistant to insulin. It's not a good thing. Whereas vegetarian protein actually makes you less resistant to insulin, which is a good thing. So there's some small variations where the vegetarian protein is actually superior. Okay, but that's, I think, a thing to understand. Now, people also had some confusion back in the 80s, okay, where they had the whole idea of kind of a food combining, protein food combining. How many people know what I'm talking about? Okay, so that turned out not to be true. And the lady who kind of invented it, you know, a few years after she came out, actually said publicly, my theory was wrong. And the truth is her theory was wrong, because in the medical text we know that protein is stored in amino acids in your liver, and you have all the amino acids you need, even though you're getting some one meal and some another meal and some another meal. Am I being clear what I'm saying? So we always have a complete protein that's coming from our liver. What you eat is just stored in your liver, and it has all the amino acids. So she understood that was a wrong theory. One fad diet after another. At least she was honest enough to say, gee, I was wrong, which is good. Okay, so that's a little bit more about the protein question. The research clearly shows that vegetarians get twice as much protein as they need. Meaning vegetarians are eating too much protein because everybody's worried about protein. Interesting question. So more isn't better. And that's what I explained about the lycopene. More lycopene isn't better if it's going to give you lung cancer. That's not better. Or if it's going to make you allergic, it's going to weaken your immune system. Not better. So it's like getting a kind of judgment. So our focus here is helping you refine your judgment. So you are empowered to individualize your diet. Okay? That's the main concept. Now, you can't see this, but all you have to see is we have protein and we have fat and we have carbohydrate. They have to be together in the right ratio to make energy. That's all you have to know. And the research shows that where that takes place is in what we call the mitochondria. The mitochondria are the energy factories of the cell. Okay? And we have two sets of DNA. The chromosomal DNA in the nucleus, which is reproduction, and another set of DNA which we inherit from our mother, biological mother, that is in the mitochondria. And that's the program that we're talking about. So when we say more or less protein, it's decided in your mitochondria, in those factories where this biochemistry goes on. It actually says, here's a person needs more protein and more fat, and this person needs less carbohydrate, or vice versa. More carbohydrate, less protein and fat. And that's a genetic thing. They actually have a name for it. It just began a few years ago. Nutrigenomics. Nutrigenomics. And that actually is the technical name that says your diet is determined by your genetics. That's what we're talking about.